Beautiful jellyfish, it's Tracy. Just want to give a disclaimer that these are like my actual real people glasses that you've seen in the thumbnail. I'm not trying to be a hipster where I just, I wear my glasses to be cool. No, like I actually wear those glasses. And this is the largest book I own. This is the Norton Shakespeare. And I love it and it's great. So, basically, I was thinking about this. And I was thinking about how with Modern Masters 3 coming out, or at this point that I'm filming this video, like it's already going to be out when I post this, it's going to be already out. But basically, I was thinking about it, about how when I got into Modern, I had a pretty supportive group of people behind me, but there were still things that I was learning as I go, and there was a lot of things that I was still figuring out about the format, about the players, and all that sort of stuff. So I was like thinking about it, and I was like, let me do a video, a little study date video, prepping you guys if you're gonna like go to your first Modern tournament or you're thinking about getting into Modern, that whole jam, that whole thing. Oh god, this tea is hot. I put it on for like 5 seconds hotter and it is very hot. Longer than I normally do. Okay, so basically, here's the deal. A couple of things that I would say that when I got started into Modern, that I wish I knew beforehand, is understanding and knowing cards that are widely used in the format and knowing what they do. Now, I'm not saying that you're gonna know right off the bat every single card, what it does, the power and toughness. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that there are a lot of Modern staples, especially with, like, look at just a lot of, like, Modern Masters 1, 2, and 3 at this point. Cards that are in the format, especially that a lot of decks play. Let's take a couple of examples. Let's talk about, like, Karn Liberated, the Urza lands, Snapcaster Mage, Eternal Witness, Tarmogoyf, Lightning Bolt, things like that, basically. Those very popular cards that are used sometimes in a couple of different decks, but cards that are just really popular that you're gonna see all the time. Like, you may be having a variation of Tron, or a variation of Burn, but those are cards that are gonna be in there, or a variation of, like, a control deck, but they're gonna be running Snapcaster Mage regardless, like, things like that. So knowing those sort of, like, heavy hitters, those cards that you're gonna see a lot. Now, how do you figure those out? Well, what I would say, I list this helpful website in my description bar all the time. It's called MTG Top 8. When I was playing Modern, I would look at this website all the time because I wanted to see, hey, there was a tournament a day ago, what were the decks that top 8'd? I'm very curious about that. So, you know, paying attention to like that sort of thing. Looking at those cards, so say you look at like 5 different lists of the same deck and they're all running this one card, you should probably know like that card basically. But if you're looking at like 5 different lists and they're all running this like one card is a little bit different, like, you know, that whole thing, maybe it's not as popular. So I think knowing a lot of those popular cards segues into combo decks. Now, Modern is not, I think it totally depends on your meta, depends on your game store, depends on where you're playing, that whole thing. But you know what, combo decks are not the biggest thing that you'll see right now. When Splinter Twin, you're probably going to hear a lot about that deck. When that was in the format, there was quite a lot of people playing it. But you know what? Because Twin is not in the format anymore, there's not as many combo decks, which a lot of people are really happy about. But if there are combo decks, especially if you know, like, there are certain people who go into your game store and you know every week they play the same deck, you should probably know what their deck does. Knowing how a combo works is so important. And I'm not saying that you have to be an expert on the combo at the very beginning, but really understanding how it works is so important. Like, I remember before I was getting prepped, I really was like, I need to know how Twin works. It was like, someone just explained to me, like, how the combo works, and I feel like I was, like, psyching myself out, and I was, like, freaking myself out because I was, like, so stressed about learning how that deck worked, because I was like, I want to know. And you know what? It makes you seem way more confident of a player if you know, like, what's going on. You want to, and you know what? Because I feel like a lot of times, and I feel like especially, like, with me, I think a lot of guys are just like, she's a girl, she probably doesn't know what she's talking about. And I'm just like, I know how that combo works. I had a guy who's, like, really, he made this very offhand weird sort of comment. I didn't really know how to, like, take it one time. He was, like, playing this deck, and he, like, did the combo, and I was like, okay. And I scooped up my cards like I knew what happened. He was like, you know how the combo works? And I was like, yeah, I know how the combo works. He's like, oh, okay, most people don't. And I was like, I'm not one of those people. I know how the combo works. I wasn't really, like, sassy like that, but, you know, knowing how that sort of stuff works. Because another thing, too, with the combo is, a lot of times what happens is some people, and say you're in the opposite seat, say you're the one playing the combo, know how your own combo works. And I know this sounds kind of like a stupid thing, but you know what? I remember when I was playing Bloom Titan, it was a really heavy combo synergistic, like you need to play the pieces right, that sort of thing, so, yeah, that type of thing. You want to know how those cards work together. And a lot of people, they don't necessarily know how it worked, so they would be like, they would call a judge over, and that's another thing. Please, if you like don't know what a card does, if a card's in a different language, don't go by the person's word, call a judge over. They are here to help you. Really, that's their job. Their job is to answer your questions, so don't hesitate to call judges over at all. So anyways, when I was playing Bloom, like, I had people, like, I remember I was playing this guy one time, and I don't think he's ever seen the deck before, and he raised his hand and called the judge and was like, wait, can you do that? And I was like, and it was cute, because I was like, yeah, this is what the deck does, that's how it works, and whatnot. So if you're playing a combo deck, knowing how it works, and if you're playing against it, knowing how it works. Some people, if they're a more maybe potentially skilled player, they may look at it and be like, okay, sweet, I know how it works, you're comboing off. But if you're newer, you may want to watch the combo through. It just kind of like, I don't know, it just like kind of depends. I think it depends. Like, I think if you're in, yeah, I don't know, I think it depends maybe on like skill level or something, or like how well you know how it works or whatever, but yeah. Combos, man, yeah. But on the same token, if you don't know what a card does, please read the card. Don't be like me when I started trying to act like I knew every single card in the format does, especially those like rando cards, like sideboard cards and stuff like that people would throw in, that I'd be like, wait, I don't know what this card does. Read the cards. Do not hesitate, read them. Do the thing. Just please do it. Everything. Take your time. So, sometimes people will get very antsy about the time limit. I remember, I'm just getting memories now of a guy who rushed me, who was very rude towards me. And, I know what slow play is. Slow play is like you're purposely playing slow so that the time goes off so you could win or draw, whatever. Don't do that. That's bad. Don't do that. That's very mean. But, like, take your time. And this guy was like, I was not slow playing at all. Like, I know what slow play looks like, and it wasn't. It was me seriously trying to take, and I don't remember what deck I was playing at the time, but he was, like, being very rude about it. Like, our first game took up, like, 40 minutes, so we only had, like, 10 minutes or so left, and he was very rude about it. Dealt with rude Magic players. You will also deal with those. Do not let them get to you. Whatever. There's gonna be people who think that there's people who are going to think that they're better than you because I've been playing Magic for like 25 years and I'm so great, ha ha ha. Just ignore them. You don't want to associate with those people. They're awful. Don't even go there. Do not even go there. On that same token, don't be that person. Bad. Don't be that elitist person that I'm talking about. That's bad also. Yeah. Trying to find a supportive group of people. I think if you can find like a group of people to like go to tournaments with and stuff, that's really a cool thing. I think that's really awesome. At the same time as well, I wouldn't feel compelled all the time to like go to tournaments. And also just know that you're probably not going to be amazing at the start. And that's what this is about. It's about growing and it's about learning. And how to get better, basically. I think how to get better at Magic just in general. It's just to play a lot. I mean, really, I talked in a video recently about how I just can't watch Magic coverage anymore. I just can't do it. I think it's boring. It's just so boring. I need to be the one to personally play. I can watch my friends. I've done that before. I don't really mind that as much, but I get very antsy. I'll be like at my game store and I'll like see people and they're like playing, and then I'm like look at someone and I was like, hey, do you want to play? Like I don't want to watch their game. I don't know. Like I want to play. So. Yeah, don't get discouraged if you don't do as well as you thought. And I tell you how, I did really, I really, honestly, really was just not good. Like, I still think I'm not good at Modern. I think that's one of the reasons why I was just not into it anymore. I was not into it for a lot of reasons, but I was really frustrated with it. I felt like I was frustrated with myself because I felt like I wasn't doing enough. I felt like I wasn't prepping enough. And, you can do it however you want. Like, if you want to start out and you just want to go to tournaments and get better that way, do that. But I think what I wanted to do was I wanted to go and play more people in my game store. Oh, another thing I wanted to say, expect the unexpected. So that website that I was talking to you about earlier, that MTG Top 8 website, that website's really awesome because what it does is it highlights those popular decks. However, let me tell you something. When I played my first ever, I still think about this all the time and it makes me so happy. When I played my first ever tournament, I was like, these are the 5 decks in my, or I guess like 6 decks in my, you know, in rounds before top 8. I was like, these are the 6 decks that I think I'm going to see a lot of. And I didn't see like any of them. I think I saw like one popular deck. I played like all these weird decks against all these weird decks that I was like, no one plays that deck. Yeah, I'm that type of person who says no one plays that deck and ends up facing the person who plays that deck. So yeah, that whole thing. Also, like another thing too is if you're someone who can't spend $500 on a deck, listen, I completely get it. I was there at the start of the events when I was playing Black-White Tokens, which is a deck that wasn't and still isn't very popular. Still not very good. There's just things, just board wipes just kill that deck basically. And, you know, a lot of it was because of like financial reasons. I mean, the deck wasn't a whole lot at the time. So listen, if you can't go out and buy 4 Liliana of the Veils, listen, I get it. No one is saying that you need to. And again, you will deal with a lot of elitist players. You will deal with a lot of people who give you a hard time because you're not playing the best deck in the format. Please ignore people who say that. Just please ignore people who say that there's the best deck in the format because you know what? I talked about this analogy and I really do think it describes Modern, in my opinion, perfectly. It's a cat, one of my subscribers said this and I thought it was a really good thing. He said that cat chasing mouse analogy. You have, I'm gonna draw it on this thing. I have a piece of paper. This was impromptu. I didn't plan that. Story of my life is I didn't plan that in my videos. Okay, you know what? You can't even see that. Let me grab like a real piece of paper. I grabbed like a post-it note that you can't even see. So basically, you have these 3 decks, right? Ignore my handwriting. My handwriting's awful. It's like a 5-year-old. So you have deck A, right? Deck A beats deck B. Deck B beats deck C. Deck C beats deck A. Keep trying to say the word deck. It is extraordinarily hard when you say it after like 5 times. So yeah, it's a whole circle basically is how the format works. So again, you will hear a lot of opinions. You're gonna hear a lot of people complain about the format. You're gonna hear a lot of people say X, Y, and Z with the format. Take it with a grain of salt, man. You know what? Like people are gonna say a lot of junk and they're gonna say a lot of stuff and you don't have to believe what they say. I mean, really. There's going to be a lot of negativity. And you know what, actually, I talked about this in my Modern Masters video. This is another thing that some older players get, not necessarily just older players, but like, say there's a person who spends like $1,900 foiling out their deck, whatever. And there's reprints for cards. Now, you as a new player are probably like, sweet, reprints, sounds good to me, because the cards are cheaper, more, you know, a lot of the times, which is great. Like I said, I love that. I love when reprints happen because they give more people, you guys, more of a chance to buy cards, which I think is awesome. Not just you guys, but me too. Like, I'm not excluding myself out of that. I don't get cards for free. I am not that cool. Not that cool. So, man, I got on that side note. I don't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, so like price dropping. And there's gonna be a lot of like older, not older players, but just like people who get like really bitter about it and they're like, this is garbage, like, I paid like $1,900 and I filled out my deck and everything dropped and it's like $1,600 and like blah blah blah, and you're over here just like, I can finally like afford a damnation. Thanks for that. Another thing too with affording cards is really, your sideboard is really important. And you know what? A lot of people dump a lot of money into sideboard and I understand why. But if you just finish your deck, you spend X amount of dollars on it, and sideboard's really not something that you can do. Like, you can't spend another $100 on your sideboard. Listen, I get it. Try to find cheaper alternatives. Try to find things, and again with sideboard, is your sideboard always wants to be changing. Your sideboard should never be stagnant. It should always, ideally, in an ideal world, you should have a couple of options for your sideboard, because depending on where you're going, are you playing at your game store? Is this deck really popular in your game store that you need more artifact hate because everyone plays affinity there? Things like that. That's another thing, knowing your meta. Where are you going? Are you going to a giant tournament where there's going to be like 1,000 people and you have no idea what you're going to see there? Or Are you playing at your game store when you know every week your 5 friends go there and they play decks X, Y, Z, and J, and D? Like, you know, how do you beat those decks? What are you going to do against those decks? Another thing too that I think I'm kind of coming, I think, more to terms with, that I don't want to say I'm like, oh, I'm trying really hard to do this, but there are so many different opinions on things, and you know what, like, you're gonna get a lot of people's opinions on a lot of different things. You're gonna get a lot of people who say this card is bad, this card is garbage, like, you shouldn't be playing that, like whatever. And again, there's just like a lot of negativity. You try to avoid that, and don't be that negativity, don't be that I will find you, hunt you down. Don't do that. But yeah, there's a lot of like negativity and stuff, and like, you know, listen to a lot of variety of perspectives, because you're gonna get, I don't know if there's necessarily one right answer, and I think that's what makes Modern pretty unique, not like unique, but like it makes it really interesting, is that I don't know if there's necessarily one right answer. I don't think there's one best deck, as much as some people will fight you and say there is. I don't think there is. I think that's what makes the format really cool. One thing that I think is very important that I think more people should do, that I would do all the time, is not net deck, I'm sorry. I'll talk about net decking, actually. I should talk about that. Is gold fishing. Gold fishing is basically like, you have your deck, you know, your deck is like 60 cards, sideboard's like your 15, and you shuffle up your 60 cards, and you draw your 7, and you look at your hand and you say, okay, would I keep this? Would I mulligan? Would I take those cards and say, I need to go down to 6 because they're not good? Whatever. This helps you in so many reasons. One, it gets you to see if you're trying out some super spicy things and you're trying out a new thing. It helps you figure out your mana curve. It helps you figure out what's your turn 1 play. Do you have a turn 1 play? What's your mana base doing? Are you getting your colors? It helps you with your mulligans. It helps you to see, okay, am I mulliganing often? What do we need to do to fix that? It helps you so many things. Gold fishing is the best. You need to goldfish. You just need to do it. You need to do it like all the time. You're prepping for, you're waiting for someone. Goldfish deck, dude, guys, I literally would like bring my deck into work and I would just goldfish my deck. I would just like play Balloon Titan like there, just because it was like, and that's what I would do, because it was like, I want to know how this deck is like playing. It helps you in so many different ways. Goldfish all the time. And what's really good about this is you can do it just by yourself. Like, you don't have to have anyone by you. It really helps you a lot. Let's talk about net decking. You're gonna hear this word a lot. So basically, say, hey, I'm Tracy, and I'm super cool, and I top 8 states because I'm awesome. LOL, no, would probably never happen in my life. But say I do, that would be really cool. And say you're like, yo, Tracy, look at this girl. She just won first place. She was playing Abzan, because I like that deck. Tracy's playing Abzan, she top 8s, look at her, she's great. You look at my deck list and you say, hey, I'm gonna copy Tracy's entire deck. You can do that. Absolutely. It's public domain, man. I didn't make the deck up. Like, I took pieces from this person and this person and this, I took pieces from everywhere. That's what net decking is you take the entire deck. Sideboard, I think, is a little bit dependent, like I said, because it depends. Most people change up the sideboard and pull bits and pieces. I think, in my opinion, you should. So basically, that's net decking. Then, you could do this magical thing, which a lot of people refer to as witchcraft, which is original thought. I know, how crazy is that? You will get a lot of flack for this. You will get a lot of people who say your deck is awful, it's bad, you should not play it. You know what I say? Yo, your deck's probably juice and you should definitely do it, because I'm a bad influence and I like to encourage people to make great choices, life choices. So, if you have a really awesome deck that doesn't necessarily meet in the top 8 requirements, but it's the best you can afford and it's the best you can do before you save up money to build your dream deck, do whatever makes you happy, okay? Okay? You know what? People were like, you're not gonna get anywhere with your black-white tokens deck, and then I top 8'd a PPTQ. So, how about you fight me? Because people were like, that deck's bad, and I was like, and it was my first ever tournament. Let's just talk about that. It was a savage day, okay? Can we talk about it? Because it was pretty great. It's pretty lit, as the kids say. So, yeah, I think that having your own original thought, and you know, my way that I typically do things is like, I take a lot of times like a skeleton of a deck and I say, okay, I like this, but I'm going to play around with numbers. So say a deck is running 4 of a card, maybe you want to run 3 of the card, and then you have an open room, or an open slot for this, X, Y, and Z. Now let's talk about mana curve. If you decide to do that, if you decide to add some spice into your deck or add some juice into your deck, that's awesome. But here's the deal. Keep in mind how it's going to affect your mana curve. How is it going to affect your mana symbols? So say you net deck, but then you change stuff. Keep in mind that affects your mana. You have to keep that in mind, that you're gonna need maybe more red symbols because you have more red in the deck, or like whatever. So yeah, that's like really important. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's just a lot of hostility towards it, and I think there's a lot of negativity towards it, and I think that people should be welcoming and inviting to new players, and I hope people are like nice to new players, especially about getting into a competitive format, because you know what, I look at it as like, if the people up here are being rude to the people down here, then these people kind of like peter off and there's not a lot of people, and then there's just no one in the format because there's just no one left, and that's really awful. And I think there's a lot of reasons why Modern has died down, and I do think that some of it is people being rude to other people, so don't do that. Just don't do that. I've seen a lot, and it like really it really hurts me, and I think it makes it so like you want to ask questions and then there's people who are just like not nice, and that like really bums me out, because you just want to have a conversation with someone and ask them what they think of a card, and they tell you your opinion is wrong. Don't like it. Just don't like it. Yeah, so that's all I got to say. Alright, I'm gonna go, I don't really know what I'm gonna go do with my life. Probably, I think I'm gonna bake some stuff, actually. Yeah, that's all I got. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.